Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be checking out how you can transform your Nano Services nodes and workflows into MCP tools ready for you to use with any MCP client. In this case, we're going to be showing off Claude. So let's dig into it. Okay, good. So let's start understanding what Nano Service is. Nano Service is a non-process framework that enables developers to build lightweight, modular, and scalable backend applications using Nano Services. Let's understand a little bit of the architecture. What we have the nodes, we have the workflows, and we have the triggers. The nodes are these very small pieces of logic that you are building using the single responsibility principle. That's the main idea. And then each part of these very small nodes can be used for anything. You can build a node for making an API call. You can build a node to send an email. The idea here is that they can be as reusable as possible. The workflow is a collection of nodes. It's a certain sequence to create any piece of business logic that starts within a trigger. So that is mainly what a workflow is. And the trigger is just an event, a way for you to start the execution of these workflows and nodes. And we can have an HTTP trigger, we can have an gRPC trigger, we can have an MCP trigger. Basically, you have a lot of ways to start to trigger the execution of a workflow. So now I'm going to show you a small draw that I did of what we are building here today. Okay, so in this draw here, we have just a small representation of what we are building today. We have our AI assistant. In this example, I'm using Claude, and then Claude is going to have the MCP requests. There are two requests that it can make. It can make the discover request when you start Claude to just grab whatever MCP tools are available. And we have the execute, where Claude understands that it's time to execute that MCP server and use that define tool. So yeah, that's what basically happened from Claude side. Within our side on the Nano Service MCP server, what happens is that when those requests come, we have these three ways of defining them. That is the tool discovery within the tool registration, and we have the request handling for when we are executing one of the workflows. Here we have, after that, just the nodes, the workflows, the normal function execution that happens within the trigger. In this case, it's the MCP within the HTTP trigger, the way that I built this. But within a couple of weeks, as I said, we're going to have the MCP trigger built into Nano Service. So the idea here is just to show overall how you can achieve that right now, how you can start creating your nodes, start creating your workflows, and use them within MCP. So let's go to the code. Let me show you how I built this and how you can build that yourself as well. So within our project, I already have the necessary files to create the MCP server. And I'm going to show you one by one, but first open your terminal and then let's install these two packages that we're going to need. It's the model context protocol from Anthropic and just the Axios. Let's install it. Okay, cool. Now let me show you the files that we're going to need. We're going to need to create the folder adapters, and then we have the MCP registry. The MCP registry is just managing and registering our tools as MCP tools. The node to MCP adapter is to convert our nodes, our workflows in an MCP tool that can be read and executed by Claude, for example. The workflow chainer is something more towards the future, because the workflow chainer is a logic where we're going to allow the Claude or ChatGPT, any MCP client, to be able to execute node within a certain sequence that the Claude or the AI agent will be able to understand and not depend on a workflow, for example. It's like a dynamic way of creating workflows within our nodes. And that's something that we are still working on, we're still improving. But the idea is that the AI agent will be able to take decisions, and depending on the task, we'll be able to chain nodes together and execute them just like in a workflow. Good. Now we have the types here, just some TypeScript types that I'm putting here for the MCP. And after that, we're gonna have our entry point. It's the MCP entry. Let me show you. Good, here it is. The MCP entry is where we are importing our model context protocol from Anthropic. And from here, we are creating the necessary logic to be able to communicate within MCP to our MCP client, basically. Here's just the initial registry. We are just, registering all of our tools on the entry point of our application. So the idea is to import in here. It's they need to registry, and then we just need to add it in there. Let me put the necessary logic there. So we're gonna be able to just registry, just to initialize the registration here. So before this if, we just put this line of code here that is going to basically understand that we have the MCP inside our server here. Good. Now let's check if there's something else. Okay, good. After that, we're gonna have the node, the MCP server node. So the MCP server node is a way that we created a structure in a way that it's serverless and it's able to execute some functions like the get tools, find tools. It's just a way for us to connect everything to our Nano service. That's the main idea here. And after that, we're gonna have the workflow itself. So if you go to workflows, outside here the nodes, outside the RSRC as well, we have workflows, we have the JSON, and then we have the auto MCP server. So the auto MCP server is a config that we created here, so we can have the debug mode, we can have the discover nodes. In this case, we are putting as false because right now we depend on workflows to be able to execute them from the MCP client. But in the future, you're going to be able to choose between those two. And then we are discovering to the workflows. Here we just have the workflows directory. And let me just fix this one. Okay, good. And then we have the excluded workflow. So the idea here is that some workflows you don't want to expose them, you don't want them to be MCP tools. You just add here inside this array. So Claude or any kind of MCP client is just going to ignore it. And then we have the same thing for nodes where you can exclude them. And yeah, that's the main idea here. So after we add all of these, all we have to do here is go within our examples. We have an index. Don't forget to also import the MCP server. And for the weather as well, we're already having a weather example where I'm going to need you to, within our documentation that I'm going to be putting on our description for this video, you're gonna basically copy and paste, and we have a new weather node, and also we're gonna have a new weather workflow. So just copy and paste those two files, it's gonna be fine, and then go back to the index that is inside here, the examples, and don't forget to add our stateless MCP node here with the MCP server. Same for the weather node, and then we just basically put in here to make them be discovered by our Nano Services server. And yeah, that's basically it. After we finish all of that, open your Claude desktop, and on your Claude desktop, go to settings, and then developer, click on edit config, and within our edit config there, we're gonna see a file, this file here, Claude desktop config.json. Open up within your editor and just copy and paste whatever I put in there on the descriptions for you, and just change the paths to match the paths from your own project. So yeah, good. As soon as you've done this, all you have to do is run npm run build. It's gonna build. If everything went fine, you're not gonna see any errors here. If there was a problem, go back to each file and check if they are correct imported, and if all the packages are correctly installed on your package.json. Good. Now let's run our server within npm run dev. Oh, there's a server already running. Let me just find it and kill it. Let me check where is it. Just a second. I can find it. Let me just kill this terminal and try again. This is still there. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so checking out, the problem was I had 2 of the Zephy here, and that's why it was running twice my server. So yeah, that was a problem. And then we can run it again. Now it's working. Let's open Claude. And if everything went right, you're gonna check here on search and tools, and you're gonna be able to see Nano Service. And here we have our weather tool. So let's make a test here. What is the current temperature in Toronto? Let's check it out. Okay, good. It understands that they have the weather tool to use. It gets the response from it, and that's how you know it's working. So the idea is that you're gonna have the request. Claude understands what is the request that it must send, and it receives the response. It's going to create some response based on its context, and I'm going to show it to you. And then that's how we can build MCP servers within Nano Services and make all of your nodes, all of your workflows available as MCP tools. So yeah, that's the main idea there. Please subscribe to the channel, leave your like. We're gonna be creating a lot of content, and we're gonna be posting here in the Descript channel. So yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.